Big Mike here with
Hayes Entertainment.
today's episode. We got absolute beauties. We got NHL All-Star Legends in Brian Propp and Ron Duguay.
If you like what we're doing, you hit the subscribe button. Shouts out to the sponsors, Deluxe Seafood.
Get your fresh and frozen seafood.
They got prawn.
They got scallops.
They got salmon.
They got cod, halibut, and tuna. Call 604-318-1955.
Tell them Big Mike and Hayes sent you. If you're looking for a mug, perhaps a hoodie, head on over to IOnlyTouchGreatness.com.
I'm Brian Propp from the Philadelphia Flyers alumni.
Hi, I'm Ron Duguay for the New York Rangers, and I only go to the Greatness podcast.
This is the hottest place. Big name interviews in Vancouver with Ryan Hayes and Big Mike.
Cannon back it away to the Flyer line with the Flyers capture it again. They're back into the Penguins. In a drop pass. Propp now from center. Propp cuts in and backhander. He scores. Ryan Propp.
Good. They want Duguay. Duguay cruises into the Oilers in. They give him room. Down the right side around. Speaking and moving to the net. His shot. Shoots and scores. Ron Duguay. Rick Tocchet. Gets some help from Brent Sutter out in front. They score! Ryan Propp hits it in. By Propp, through into the zone. He's on a breakaway. Look out, short-handed, score! 3 short-handed goals and a hat trick for Brian Propp. Here's another one going on. Ron Duguay, number 10. That's Hoyter with him, Jim. Hoyter's a pretty tough fighter. Dugay's got the elbow up. Hoyter's having trouble bringing the cross up. Hoyter's got his right arm tied up in the jersey. Yep.
Brian, how's it going?
Hey, pretty good. How you doing?
Good. Thank you very much for taking the time for us today and coming on here. We really appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure.
I'm Ryan, by the way.
Hey, Ryan. How you doing?
Good, nice to meet you.
And I'm Big Mike.
Hey, Big Mike.
Well, how's your day going today?
Oh, pretty good. I was just been handing out the new brochures that I have for the Guffaw cigars.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, we wanted to talk to you about that, by the way. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so I started a couple years ago. I went with my son Jackson and Ken Dunnick, a former Eagle, to the Dominican Republic, and so we visited a factory there. So we learned how to make the cigars, and roll them, and do the whole thing. And then so I was thinking about it for a year, and so I decided to make my own Guffaw brand. It took me about a year, but so I was starting with 425 boxes of 10 for my 425 regular season goals, and then from now on, now I have 5 packs and boxes of 24 and bundles of 25. So it's only been there for 4 months, and so it's going really well.
And you said
That's awesome.
Dominican. Yeah. You said the Dominican. You went over to the Dominican.
Yeah, so like in Santiago, I visited the factory there, but I work with Vivente Cigars in the Dominican Republic. I have a licensing agreement with them. That way I don't have to worry about the taxes in making a cigar. So I just got a license through them. But my brand is the Guffaw brand.
Okay, and I love the Dominican cigars too. I've had them before, so best place for them, like Cuba.
Yeah, and so like what happens is like in Canada for boxes of 5, it's $60, but it's another $10 for shipping.
That's not bad at all. I'm going to definitely get into that. I love my Cohibas, so.
Yeah.
Right.
I think Ron just popped back out. I think he's going to come back in here.
Let's hope for it. Brian, you grew up in Saskatchewan. What was life like for you growing up out there?
Well, I was in Saskatchewan with a little town of 300 people. My dad was a Lutheran minister, and I had two brothers and two sisters. We were all 13 months apart, so we had our own hockey team at that time. So it was nice. And then I just skated and played hockey and learned from my dad the basics of hockey. And then when I went to the Melville Millionaires, I was 15 and broke all the records that they had, and they were the MVP. And then I went to Brandon for 3 years, and then it took off from there.
Yeah, you definitely continued that off in Brandon. I mean, that team was absolutely stacked. You guys had a great roster. Playing with McCrimmon, obviously, Hanlon, Semenko, and I know you won 2 scoring titles. What was that like?
Well, it was good because we had Dunk McCollum was our coach, and so he taught us the right way to be pros. But we had such good teams, like with Brad McCrimmon and Ray Allison and Laurie Boschman and Bill Berlego and Hanlon and Semenka and players like that. So, but yeah, we were really good. I mean, we didn't lose that much, and then especially. And then when it turned to 18-year-old draft, that's when I got drafted. And then Laurie Boschman got drafted before me to Toronto, and then Bork was ahead of me. But they were a little younger. But actually, it worked better for me because then I played for the Flyers and got a chance to get in the playoffs every year.
Exactly. And why'd you wear number 26?
Because I wanted 16, but for some reason I couldn't wear 16 in Philadelphia because another guy had it, and so I always liked the numbers like the 6 is on it, so I chose 26.
Okay. And who were the biggest influences in your career?
Well, my dad, of course, because he's from Saskatchewan. He taught me all the things. But Dunk McCollum was a good coach, and I learned from him. And with Jerry James, he was a coach in Melville. He also played in the Canadian Football League and hockey. So he learned. I learned from him because at that time. They used plays like for football, and so that was we were kind of head of the game.
Okay.
Did you have any pregame rituals?
No, I wasn't superstitious like most of the guys. Like I wanted to be a consistent player, which I was, and I played both sides of the ice and. I had lots of success scoring and setting up plays and being a plus player and, playing with good teams.
And growing up, who did you try and play like or mirror your game after?
Well, I just at that time, like in Brandon, like I didn't really know much better. And then when I went to the Flyers, like I didn't follow hockey like most of the guys. But I liked Jean Beliveau. I liked the way he played. So I kind of tried to do like he did, but playing with Bobby Clark and Bill Barber at the start, and a couple other guys that I know, with good leadership, that really made a big difference for me.
Yeah, definitely. And then, did you have any pregame meals or rituals?
Well, at that time, of course, we used to eat steak and pasta and chicken, and as I got a little older, I didn't eat as much. Like I just had either pasta and a salad and soup because it's changed over the years. But I still, as long as I had the like the pasta. That makes a difference just to how you can last a little longer.
Do you have a favorite sports hero?
I liked especially in Philadelphia. Like I liked all the teams in Philadelphia, and because in the 80s, if you remember, there was 4 teams that went to the finals in 1980, the Phillies, the 76ers, the Flyers, and the 76ers. So it was a good time at the time. But, I know Ron Jareski a lot because I've been there for all those years and, playing all his golf tournaments and, and he's really good. He has lots of golf clubs. And so I have my Gaffa cigars in one of his shops right now. So that's just what I'm trying to work on, like to build like the golf clubs that I know, and so that I can, and hopefully I go to Florida and other places that they'll have it all year round.
That's awesome. Have you been golfing much?
No, the last year, well, with a virus, like we had to stay at home for like 4 months. So like you had to work from home, but now it's just getting a little better. But I work at Wolf Commercial Real Estate as a realtor. I'm a broker for them for 6 years, and I'm also the ambassador for Bancroft brain injury people, because I had a massive stroke 5 years ago where I couldn't talk and do anything else, and so I had to learn how to with my brain how to talk again. But Bancroft I'm their ambassador. I've been there for a year and a half, and every box of cigars I sell, I give a percentage back to Bancroft.
Okay. And Brian, drafted 14th overall in 1979 to the Philadelphia Flyers. Take me back to that day.
Yeah, so like at that time, like I was working on the farm, so like I didn't even know I got drafted. So like it's so different now. But I was really happy when the Flyers called me and said I was going to Philadelphia, and I was really shy and quiet. And so like it really took me a year or two just to get used to the Philadelphia and the bigger city, and then that's why it was good that I had leaders like Bob Clark that kind of taught me. And then after I got a little older, like 4 or 5 years into my career, like with Dave Poulin and Mark Howe kind of took over. So I really had to learn how to be a better leader from that. But also for me, my first year, we had a 35 undefeated streak, and which is still a rocket today. And we went to the finals that year against the Islanders, because that way was number 1 against number 16. That's why we met the Islanders at that time. And then they changed the divisions, which made it a little tougher. And so like I thought, hey, just like Brandon going to the finals in my first year, this is the way it's always going to be. But you find out that it's not that easy to win a Stanley Cup. And then so for a couple of years after that, best out of fives, we lost a couple series in the first round, but then at least I had a chance to play for Team Canada and World Championships and get experience after that. But I had to learn in my 4th year in the league to be much better when the playoffs got started.
Did you know much about the Flyers before they chose you, or did you have any idea they wanted you?
No, I just was waiting to see what was going to go. But that year there was only one draft, so the NHL, because the World Hockey Association merged the year before. So I was hoping that I could have some bargaining power, because if it was 2 leagues, I probably would have been offered like $250,000 or more to play with one of those teams. But it didn't work that way. So my first 3 years, I made 60, 65, and 70,000, and it went up like 10,000 after that. So we didn't get paid that much, but I didn't mind, because I didn't really know any better. And now it's the guys are making so much money that they're kind of spoiled. But it doesn't matter as long as you do what you have, and you find a way to make it work.
They were saying on our local radio today that talking about all these contracts that you got, and they were saying how when Bobby Hall to go to the Jets, he never thought, he just said, what would it take to get, they asked him what it would take to get him on to the Jets, and he's like $1 million. And the Jets actually came up with $1 million, and he's like, damn it, now I got to go to the Jets.
No, yeah. Well, yeah, but that's it changed a lot. Like, I remember, the first year, I went to the finals in 1980, and I saw the tickets for the Stanley Cup Finals. It was like $17.50, for a ticket, in the lower round. So, that's they didn't make as much either, but it's really changed a lot now. It's more corporate, and the rinks are a little bit bigger, and they're all kind of the same. There's 24, 20, 30, 32 teams soon. And so it kind of, it's a lot different than it has been, like when there was only 16 or 20 teams.
Yeah. Taking me back to your first goal.
Yeah. So my first goal was in my first game. I played with Bob Clarke and Reggie Leach on the line. And so I scored the game winner against Bill Smith of the Islanders, and I had an assist. So, it was really good to get started that way. And then I'll never forget the second game that we had. We lost 9-2 in Atlanta. And I was like, oh my God, is this what the NHL is going to be like? And then we went 35 without a loss after that.
Brian, then you made it to the Flyers, playing on the line with Bobby Clarke and Reggie Leach for the start of the season, and you ended up with Kenny Linsman and Paul Holmgren, some awesome line mates to have to start your career. And you had a hell of a start. Give us a good Bobby Clarke story.
Yeah, so Bob Clarke was really he was in his 11th year in the league, and so he's been around for a long time. He won a couple Stanley Cups and was one of the best players all time. And so I learned from him, but he was a lot like me. He grew up in Flin Flon, Manitoba, and with Reggie Leach. So he knew how to work hard, and he practiced as like I did. I was always the first one on the ice practice and the last one to leave. And so that made a big difference of, pushing each other. But he gave me some direction. He always talked on the ice, told me where I was going to go. But he was such a good passer and a player, and good with faceoffs. So it was really good for me at that start, just to listen to him and follow what he had to do too. But I also liked the rough stuff, just and then it was nice that I had the Flyers, because Ben Wilson and a couple tough guys, that made it a little easier because I was kind of more protected.
Exactly. And then that same season, you went on to beat Richard Martin's left wing rookie scoring record, putting up 75 points. What a season!
Yeah, so I was a rookie that year, so but it was really, really good, and just happy that it went that way. But at the same time, all I wanted to worry about was to win. I wasn't worried about my stats too much. I just liked to win.
Hey, Ron, thanks for joining us, bud. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, hi. Sorry for the problems. I just installed a new computer, and I thought I can get it to work, and which I didn't. So now I'm on my laptop. So you're going to see less of me, or less of where I'm at. And I'm assuming that Brian's okay, because Brian likes to talk. So we got to give him a heads up, a good 10 minutes to get started. Hi, Brian.
Yeah, how you doing? How you doing, Ron?
I'm doing well.
You guys know each other, right?
We do, yes.
Yeah.
Not only did we compete against each other, but we actually played on the same team, Canada Cup, right, Brian?
The Canada Cup, and in Russia, we had a couple other outdoor games where we played together too.
Yeah, so Brian was one of the nice guys that played for the Flyers.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, they were full of a bunch of goons, tough guys.
Well, they call them hockey police, enforcers. They did their job very well. They were very intimidating. And so whenever playing against them, you had to put your big boy pants on, because you were going to be in for a hell of a game, especially in Philadelphia. And what made it worse is that those Flyer fans, I mean, you know what it was like for me to go into a game in Philadelphia? Back then, the glass was really low. And in warm-up, I couldn't even go near the glass. I had to skate near the center to stay away from all these people who seemed to not like me for whatever reason. But having said that, it brought the best out of me, because Brian will tell you that I've always played well in Philadelphia, because you had to be ready, and you had to be on your toes. You had to keep your head up, and you had to play fast. And so I played fast, played hard, and I actually wouldn't go out the night before, which was rare for me.
You're quite the
Hey,
rock
Ron,
star, right?
what made you get into hockey in the first place?
I'm sorry?
Sorry, go, Mike. I was talking at the same time as you.
Oh, sorry, buddy. I was just going to say, what made you get into hockey in the first place?
I'm Canadian.
Yeah.
So it's just a natural. We're talking, I'm born in 57. So by the time I was 1960, I was playing a little hockey already. I was 3 and actually playing a little hockey. And you learn to play on an outdoor rink. And so for me, until the age of 12, I wasn't in any kind of arena with a roof on. It was all outdoors. And you had access to playing 24/7. Get home from school, right to the rink. And every little community where I was raised, which is north of Sudbury, Ontario, we all had our own little outdoor rink. So playing hockey was free and it was easy. I loved it. And I recognized early that I had a skill. And when you're a little bit better than everyone, it wants you to have to play that game. So I played a whole lot of it, loved it, couldn't play enough. But having said that,
you definitely made the right decision.
Yeah. But the difference, though, with a kid that really likes to play hockey nowadays, they don't give themselves a break. They go right through the summer. And so when I remember come October, November, when it get cold in the ice, I was so ready to play again. So that's why taking a break was good, play baseball or do something else. Where the kids now, they just go hard all the time. And mentally, I don't know if that's good for them.
You were drafted, Ron. You were drafted 13th overall by the Rangers in '77. Did you know much about them, or other than did you know much about the city of New York, and were they interested in you?
You know, it's funny because back then I followed the Leafs and watched Montreal. You didn't watch a whole lot of other teams. I didn't know much about New York. I didn't even have a lot of conversation with my agent about possibly where I would go. All I remember was I was interviewed by Detroit, who had the first pick that year. I met with them, so I was being considered for first overall. But all I was told, and there wasn't a lot of communication. My agent was Alan Eagleson, and there wasn't a lot of communication, constant communication on this or that, or rumors of this or rumors of that. We've been talking to so-and-so. None of that. And it just, I can remember getting the call on a Saturday morning, and Al Eagleson's right-hand man, Bill Waters, calls me, say, hey, Ron, this is the conversation. This is how it went. Hey, Ron, good news. You're drafted by the New York Rangers. You went 13th overall. This is how much you're making. Talk to you later. That's it.
Wow.
There was no, oh, by the way, is this negotiable? No, they've already negotiated my deal. And by the way, I was drafted by the Winnipeg Jets in the WHA in the first round. There was no conversation of me possibly going there. Do you want to go there? There was none of that. This is what you're getting. This is what you're taking. And that's it. Brian, I would love to hear from you on what was like for you. What year were you drafted, Brian?
79, when the NHL merged. So and I had Eagleson too. So the only thing that, I made 60, 65 and 70,000 my first 3 years in the NHL.
You were picked which round?
I was first round, 14th overall, but that was the year that they had underage, like Boschman was there before, and Bork and a couple of guys younger, and all the World Hockey Association kind of joined that year too. So that's why the draft was so good.
Did you get a signing bonus?
I did. It was it gave me a chance to buy a car for my parents.
Well, tell me what it is, because we're comparing notes right now. How much did you get?
I think I made 50,000.
Oh, wow. So I made more than you 2 years less than that.
Yeah.
I got a $100,000 signing bonus. I made 75, 80, 85.
Okay.
Same agent.
Yeah, but at that time there was a World Hockey Association too.
Yes.
So it merged, and so there was no bargaining after that.
Okay,
so
good.
That's why it was no lower.
All right, good backup, Brian.
And then take me back to your first goal, Ron.
Well, I know it was in Cleveland, And I know it was my game 4, and I think Meloche was in that. Gilles Meloche was in that. It was game 4, scored my first goal in Cleveland. It took me a couple games to get a feel for the pace of the NHL. And, I had an idea that I can score 20, and sure enough, that's what I ended up with, score 20 goals. It's always good as a rookie to be able to get a goal within those first 5 games. But I don't know if I felt a whole lot of pressure because we were such a happy group, and I was getting quality ice time that I knew it was going to happen. It was just a matter of time. So within my 4th goal, I don't even remember how I scored the goal, but it was game 4.
Do either of you guys still have the puck?
What's that?
Do either of you guys still have the puck from your first goal?
I do. Yes, I do. Yeah, I have my first puck. I got my 20th goal puck, my 100th goal. I have a couple of pucks that I've kept, but when you think about what Brian, like he'll tell you that winning a Stanley Cup is more important than a few goals. So I had an opportunity to go to the finals in '79, but never won. So, personal goals are good and fine because you're chasing that. It helps you to be the best that you can be to help the team. But the ultimate goal is not going home early in the summertime.
Yeah. Brian, do you still have your puck?
Yeah, I think I do, but I, usually the plaques that I got for the goals and things, I gave a lot of them to my family in Saskatchewan, just so that they could keep it because, what am I going to do with it anyway? Like I kept the 5 Stanley Cup finals Trapers that I've had, and the Canada Cup that I won, and the Spangler Cup that I won. So for Team Canada, it was nice for me to play and win a couple championships there too.
Yeah, you guys both had hot starts coming into the NHL, like rookie season, and you guys both banged off great season. I mean, Propp had 75 points, and I mean, you had 20 goals first season. That's pretty impressive.
I lost you guys there for a minute.
Oh, I was just saying, you guys both had hot starts when you guys came into your rookie season. I mean, Propp had 75 points, and you had 20 goals, and that's a good start to come into the league. I mean, it doesn't happen a lot these days.
Well, I think if you're a first rounder, you should be scored 20 goals. And I met that mark. And for me, it's not that I was going in there as a 50 goal scorer. I just felt like I could be an all around good player. And, also you have to be a playmaker. And it depends on what team you're on, your line mates, your teammates. And so, yeah, I was satisfied with 20 because that was the same thing I did as a rookie when I played Major Junior. As an underage, I scored 20 goals. So that was kind of my goal, get to the 20 goal mark. That way, everyone's satisfied.
And Ron, I'm going to chirp you here a bit. I know they always call you the Joe Namath of hockey. You're always known for the girls to be all gaga over you with that flow while you're skating. You obviously still haven't aged, but I remember having your rookie card and you had a shaved head. What happened, man? You fertilized that to get the flow or what?
Well, back then, initiation was allowed. And it was sometimes extreme initiation, depending on who you were and how popular you were with your teammates. My problem is I got very popular with the women, so I had a lot of single guys on the team. Dave Maloney and Gressner and Nick Foutie was on the team. John Davidson, Phil Esposito. Not that they're single, but the younger guys got the clipper out and decided to shave my head. So that's the sort of thing that doesn't happen anymore. But that
is your rookie card then, right? With the shaved head?
That was my rookie card. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your favorite movie about sports for both of you?
I liked slap card.
Yeah.
What?
Slap shot, you mean? Slap shot.
Yeah.
I still have aphasia. I can't. The words don't come out that word since my stroke 5 years ago, and so I get mixed up with words every once in a while.
Okay. Well, mine has to be because I had Herb Brooks as a coach. So Miracle on Ice. That's always, if you're a hockey guy, to look at that story and what Herb did and what those players did. I got to play with a few of them. That was extremely special. So the way they did it on TV was very real. So that's one of those movies, even when you watch the hockey scenes, they make it appear very real. So that's probably my favorite.
Okay. Yeah, we get those two a lot, considering they're both hockey and we do a lot of hockey interviews. I heard one story about Farrah Fawcett trying to get into your limo. Can you tell us about this story? Sounds real good. No. Okay.
How can I put this? So I met her at a event. And she was there with Ryan O'Neal, and I had just I'd done the cover of Interview magazine, which was Andy Warhol's magazine. Put me on a cover, and the morning that came out, Farrah was in New York. She happened to pick it up, and it just so happened that a week later I ended up running into her. So she felt like she wanted to meet me, so we met. Ryan was there, and she was doing a Broadway play. I think it was called Burning at the time, and she invited me to go. And I thought, yeah, I'll go. But I waited for Ryan to leave town. and so I went to watch the Broadway play. And then after the play, I thought, you know what? I'm going to go to the green room, knock on the door. And back then you can do that and just go say hi. And then she invited me to go for a drink. And that's where the story ends.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Okay. Fair enough. You're definitely the biggest pretty boy in hockey. We all know that. You participated in Sass and Jeans commercial and the Hockey Rock song by Alan Thicke. What was it like working with those and working with Esposito?
Well, all those things are those are things that are fun that we do together. So it brings the players together. Singing Hockey Sock Rock, that was created by Alan Thicke. He brought us out to LA. He used Espo because they were good friends to do the lead on it. So we went to LA, recorded a song. At the time, I remember going to see Robin Williams. So we hung out with some celebrities, but that whole process was good because we got so much recognition from it. You know, if you're a Ranger fan, you loved it. If you're a Flyer fan, you poke fun at us. If you were in Boston, they poke fun at us. So it just gave us a lot of attention, and we became a lot more popular in New York. And then ooh la la, to this day I do cameos. I'm on Cameo, the celebrity website.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, I'm on there. And so whenever someone will request something for someone, they always want me to say, can you end it with ooh la la? So I have to do that for the
Brian, do you remember that?
I remember it roughly, yeah. And I know what
I said Brian, do you remember that? The commercial?
Well, I had played against him in Philadelphia, so like they whistled all the time about his hair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And Brian, it's been 6 years ago yesterday that Pat Quinn's passing. Could you give me a story about him and having him as a coach?
Yeah, so he was my first coach. That was when I was a rookie. We went to the Stanley Cup Finals. We had the 35 undefeated streak. And he loves like cigars, so that's what I have my own cigar brand now that called the Gaffa cigars for the Dominican Republic. And so he had us. He smoked one after the game. So when we won in Boston for 29 goals games straight, that was a big for us. And then we went to 35 without a loss. And then we went to the finals against the Islanders. That year it was number 1 against number 16. So that's why we played against the Islanders in the finals. And then after that, I think they changed the divisions. So we kind of got beat up every once in a while by the Islanders.
Okay. Was Pat Quinn a hard ass as a coach?
No. He was very, very good about he liked to do the plays. He's very educational about how to play the game. But it was having Bob Clark as a leader. And the thing was that Kenny Linsman, he never listened. So we had to keep telling him twice. He messed up all the time. He was a little nifty, whiffy once in a while. But, we make sure that we told him more than once.
Ron, did you have any interactions with Pat? I know you played in the league for a long time.
No, just played against him. Yeah,
Okay.
he was a monster of a man behind the bench. I mean, certain coaches, their presence, they could be intimidating, and he always had that look on his face, right? And I always had a lot of respect for him. So I got to know him later on. He was the nicest man, really nice, kind, good guy.
One of the best stories we have one of the best stories we have is Rob Ray and Tim Hunter. Rob Ray's running Pavel Bure all game long. Bure's like, come on, man, it's the third period. Leave me alone. So Tim Hunter steps on the ice and he's like, listen, just leave the kid alone. So then I guess they eventually go and they get tossed while they're chirping at each other. Hunter leaves like a smart guy. Ray stays and he starts chirping at the refs. Well, Hunter goes down, hides behind the black screen or whatever on the Buffalo side. So Rob Ray comes around the corner and he just hammers them. And they wrestled all underneath the stands until finally I was like, well, what broke it up? And he goes, well, we felt this big mitt on my arm, on my chest, on my shoulder. And it was Pat Quinn saying, boys, that's enough. They just stopped right there.
Okay. That's the end of the story on that one. Hey, did you guys have a favorite road barn, like to go play in?
Brian?
I always liked Montreal because the old rink, it was so history was there with all of their Stanley Cups, 24 Stanley Cup rings that they won in. Plus, they just used the rink for the games only. That was a lot different. And then, but I love the food that they had there. I liked the night work. And there's lots of things to go to in Montreal. All the guys loved it in Montreal, and we had a lot of fun.
Ron, you never went out in Montreal, did you?
Yeah, I'm going to say it for Brian. Brian, it was called Chez Paris. Brian's being too shy to say Chez Paris. That was the place to go in Montreal. So yeah, as a Canadian growing up, watching Montreal and Toronto, once you stepped in those buildings and you heard the announcer, that same announcer that you would hear when you were 12, 13, 14, and then they're announcing your name. Oh my goodness, especially for me in Toronto, it brought it all to life, as a young child and want to play in the NHL, and there you are right there in that building. But most Canadian arenas were the best because of the quality of the ice. You can go to Canada, have great ice. For me, speed was important. So a hard ice that I can go hard made a difference. Like I love playing in Winnipeg. I like playing in Edmonton. But Montreal, Toronto was fun. Now you talk about fun. Los Angeles was awesome. And you can go there and they had a decent team, but the coach would always throw us a carrot. He said, listen, boys, and I'm sure every team did this. If we win, you guys get 2 days off or we're going to stay in LA for a couple days. And so poor LA, they take a beating because the guys wanted to win and stay in LA. So there we have fun. In fact, I can remember one night, and I'll give you the short version of it. Glenn Fry was at the game from the Eagles. He was a big hockey fan. And John Davidson knew him. And we had a big win last night. We went out and had a few drinks with Glenn Fry. Next thing you know, we ended up his place and kind of telling stories, his stories of travel with the band and us traveling with us as a team. And so that was one of many good nights in LA.
Oh.
Okay, that's a great story. Was the Roxy still the place back in the day
In
Vancouver?
I don't remember the name of what would have been hot in Vancouver. We didn't go there a whole lot. That's the thing. We didn't go to Vancouver a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, we were on the East Coast, and so like we just had the raid trips that we did there. Like you said, Ron, we loved LA because we won every time there. I don't think the Flyers beat them for like close to 30 years, and then because like you said, you want a couple days off and it make it a little more fun.
You both. You both wore
Go ahead.
the Canadian flag on your jersey before. What's the feeling representing your country?
Brian?
Yeah, so for me, it was for in the States my whole career. It was good for the team, but playing for your country, especially the Canada Cup and the World Championships and the Spangler Cup, the pride that you have just to have a chance to play with the best players in the world made a big difference, and especially in 1987. Where we had a 33-game series against Russia in '87 with, and I played most of the line with Gretzky and Lemieux, and Keenan was a coach, and then we had a couple other Flyers there talking, and Doug Crossman. For me, it was so nice for me to finally win, because I was in 3 Stanley Cup finals, and we lost in Game 7 before the Stanley Cup, or the Canada Cup. So I had at least had a chance to win on the Canada Cup that year.
Yeah, for me, Brian, refresh my memory. Were you with me in 80-81 in Canada Cup?
No, it was because in 81, 82, I was in World Championships.
Okay. Because I wasn't sure if you were there with me. Anyways, yeah, so that was my year playing for Canada Cup. And I wasn't so much thinking I was representing my country at the time. For me, I was just trying to make the team. I was invited from Bill Torrey because I had a good playoff series against the Islanders. We had beat them in '79 to go to the Stanley Cup Finals. So because of that, Bill Torrey thought there would be a good fit for me on a checking line. And so they invited me to camp, and I got in great shape. And sure enough, for me, one of my biggest achievements was to make that team. If you go back and look at that team, all the Hall of Famers are on that team. To make that team was my biggest achievement. Now, having said that, we lost to the Russians in the finals, but on a team with Gretzky, I played with Bob Gainey on the same line as Butch Goring. So we were on a checking line. That whole experience, I really liked it because of that season. I ended up going back, and I have Herb Brooks as my coach, and I ended up scoring 40 goals. So it just gave me a lot of confidence in myself. Plus, I was in great shape. So it set me up for the next 6-7 years where I scored a lot of goals.
That's on cue, actually. 1983 was a sad day. Herb Brooks moved to the Red Wings. What was up with Herb Brooks and you never really seeing eye to eye?
Oh, it's not that we didn't see eye to eye. We got along just fine. It's just that he didn't like reading about what I was doing the night before page 6 of the New York Post.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and sometimes I would be a little lopsided in practice. and so but I always came to play. Listen, I scored 40 goals for him. I mean, I partied hard, but I played hard. But and I think Herbie, that's the adjustment that he was having to make in the NHL, that he needed to let some of us just be us. And as long as we're performing, it should be okay. He had so much control over his players as college players that I felt like he lost some of that control with us, because he ends up in New York. And now he's dealing with not just hockey players, but we were like celebrity hockey players. And I never argued with him. I never had a problem with him. He's probably one of my favorite coaches, but he didn't like who I was off the ice.
Okay. How many players smoked back then in your guys' teams? Like, was that a thing? Guys go out in between periods, smoke cigarettes?
If you're asking me, absolutely not. I had
no, I'm not asking if you did. I just meant like how many guys in the league did that or teammates did that.
Yeah, my first couple of years, I can remember between periods, guys would be in the bathroom and they're just smoking it up. Meanwhile, we're all trying to catch our breath and they're in the bathroom smoking with their feet up, and I'm like, what is this?
The Guy Lafleur.
Yeah, well, because I play with a few of those guys, and look at it, it didn't bother me. I just couldn't figure out how they can get by with smoking, because it's poison right in your lungs. Meanwhile, we need our lungs clear. But I think for them, it was adrenaline. It was energy to them, short-term energy. And so they did it and they got away with it.
Yeah. I never smoked cigarettes, but there was about 5 or 6 guys on the Flyers that would smoke between periods and before games and between periods. And so, you don't know. It's just whatever they do.
I personally couldn't smoke. Like I smoke enough, a little bit. Like when I'm drinking, I smoke. But after a game of my hockey, there's no way I can have a smoke right away. I gotta at least let it settle down for an hour or two while your lungs decompress.
Well, it's not proper nutrition. Let's put it that way.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's poison to the body, and I tried it when I was 12, like everyone else.
Yeah.
Choked, didn't like it. I'm glad I didn't like it, and I've never tried it ever since.
That's probably why I lost my hair.
I thought you were just going with a certain look.
Oh yeah. That's what I tell the ladies.
Yeah. Where are you guys? Where are you guys, by the way?
We're in Vancouver.
Oh, I see. Okay. No, that makes sense now.
And Brian, obviously 1989 playoffs were not a good one for you. You got a dirty hit laid on you by Chris Chelios, suffered a concussion. What was it like having Ron Hextall stick up for you in Game 6 and pound him?
Well, it was at that year, we were in the conference finals. We just finished a 7-game series against Pittsburgh. And so we started in Pittsburgh or in Montreal, and Chelios hit me from the side really bad. And he knew what he was doing. I was in a concussion. But I only missed one game when you think about it at that time. It probably should have been more than that. But at that time, I passed all the tests that
protocol.
I had. So I still had a chance to play. And I remember I scored a goal and an assist in Game 6, but we lost 4-2. But Hextall, because I think that he didn't see that if anybody was doing anything to Chelios, that he got upset, and then with 2 minutes left, he just kind of went crazy. But which I love, because it meant that he was sticking up for me. And as a leader, I look at what he's done, and I love him for that.
Hey, Brian, question for you. Who was your favorite teammate in Philadelphia?
Well, that was Brad McCrimmon and Mark Howe. I mean, Mark is such a great player, and Brad McCrimmon was a friend of mine for the years until he died in the plane crash in Russia about 8 or 9 years ago. But Ray Allison is also another good friend of mine. But I was in Philadelphia for 11 years, and Mark Howe and Brad McCrimmon were my best friends.
Mm.
How about you, Ron?
Well, when I first got there, probably Donnie Murdoch. He ended up being my wingman. Now, if you remember Donnie Murdoch, do you remember who Donnie Murdoch was? He was suspended. When I got there, he was there the year before. When I got there, in that summer, he got caught with going over the border with cocaine. So he was suspended for 40 games. And so when I was in New York, I heard all these stories about Donnie Murdoch. Ron, you're going to love Donnie. You're going to love Donnie. So he shows up game 41, and Studio 54 is open, but I hadn't gone. And so the first night, Donnie shows up, plays the game, and he says, "Dukes, what are you doing after the game?" I don't know what. Let's go to Studio 54. And so for a couple of years, Donnie and I had a whole lot of fun. So he was a guy that I enjoyed being around. The other guy was Nick Fatillo. Now, Nick was our, team leader and our team police and practical joker, always doing something, always laughing, always picking on someone. And so to this day, Nick Fatillo is probably one of my favorite teammates.
We have numerous people tell us that he's the toughest guy that they've ever played against. Like numerous people.
Well, he was not only was he very strong, but he was a good fighter. He was a boxer. And so he knew how to fight on the ice. So he was dangerous, and he would fight everyone, and he would protect his teammates. So when you have someone who's looking out for you, you always appreciate them.
Brian, what a career you had, man. 1,004 points in 1,016 games. What do you think contributed to that?
Well, it was my consistency, playing with good players, and going into playoffs all the time, playing two ways, hockey, because I killed penalties on the power play, had lots of times to be on the ice time. And so for me, it was consistency, just like Mark Recchi. Like, I like what Rex has done his whole career. And, and then it makes a difference because, like, in the history of left wings, I'm number one for the all-time for scoring in the playoffs with 122 points.
And Ron, what do you think contributed to you having such a long and great career as well, putting up 620 points in 860 games?
Well, I would say that wasn't enough. I only played 12 years in the NHL, and I could have played longer. Just circumstances that happen. You get bad bounces. You get the wrong coach at the wrong place. But when I left the game, I was still healthy. And to this day, that's why Brian will tell you, when I play in these exhibition games, I'm going hard. And I'm still looking to score another goal because I didn't leave the game satisfied with having scored enough and having played enough. Now, I've had the pleasure of playing with some really good players. Mark Pavlich was my first centerman that was really good. And then I go and play with Stevie Yzerman, was really good in Detroit. And then I played a little bit with Mary Lemieux and then ended up in LA. But it really has to do with the coach liking you, the coach wanting you to succeed, and knowing how to set you up with line mates that you're going to succeed with. So I've had a good fortune of playing with some good ones. I just think that it could have been better, but it is what it is. I'm just grateful for having played 12 years. I played another 5 years in different locations, but it could have been longer, but that's what keeps me playing hard today. I swear I'm on the ice. I'm always having to prove. When I was young, I always wanted to go against the older guy. If I was 14, I wanted to play against a 19-year-old. I wanted to beat
Now
him.
it's opposite.
Yeah. And so now I'm 63. I want to play against a 30-year-old. I really do. Only because I just want to show him that I can still go. So and
you haven't aged a day. I'm pretty sure you can still go.
I can. And a lot of it had to do with when I was about 30, 35, I made a commitment to myself that I didn't want to be all broken down when I'm 60. And so I really paid attention to my health. And I knew that I would want to play for a long time, continue playing hockey, continue step on the ice, because that's the fabric of who I am. And so that takes me into a happy place. So for me to go out and play, even in front of 500 people or 1,000, 2,000 people, Brian will tell you, we still get a great joy out of doing that. Plus, we get an opportunity to play with guys that we played against. So I play with Brian, love playing with Brian, playing with other guys that you may have liked or disliked. And so we go and compete. And there's nothing, the thing with playing hockey, there's a niceness to it. Other than the fighting, there's a niceness to it. Being able to control the puck, make a pass, receive a pass, take a shot, and, just coordinating with teammates. That's a lot of fun. So I still enjoy doing that.
Yeah, and then 2012, you guys were both part of the Winter Classic, and you guys played against each other. What was that like? I know, Ronnie, you had a breakaway on Bernie Perrant there at the end, and you gave him the easy save. That wouldn't have happened back in the day.
Brian, go ahead.
Yeah, so I think that Ron knows what it meant for him by doing that, because Bernie he lost his eye and then he couldn't see, but the people in Philadelphia know that respect what you did just by shooting at him. And to this day, I'm close with Bernie Perrant. We used to be the ambassadors for the Flyers, but this year we're not doing that anymore. And but I talk with him all the time. We have shore houses with Bernie and my wife. But yeah, that for you, Ron, everyone in Philadelphia now really respects you for what you did.
Well, thank you. Please tell him I said hello. And I tell the story like this. In the afternoon of the game, and I don't know if I shared this with you, Brian, but I was kind of just sitting around thinking about the game. And of course I wanted to play well, and I had an idea what kind of game it was going to be. We're going to be playing in front of 44,000 people. And so not that I felt like I needed to go out there and show anybody up, but I still wanted to play well. And for whatever reason, I'm laying there and this thought came to mind. What if I swear to God, what if it's me and Bernie in a situation? It came to me. What are you going to do? And sure enough, at the 4.5-minute mark, I can't remember which defenseman was out there, but he fumbles the puck. And here I am on the breakaway against Bernie, something that came to mind. And I knew what I was going to do. And I like to think that you guys knew what I did was I just shot his pass. But a lot of people did not know that what I did was just creating a situation where it was going to hit the pad. He can just fall down. And it couldn't have happened any perfect because he was getting ready to leave the ice. He gets a standing ovation. And it's probably the most missed goal that I've gotten so much attention from, because every player on the Flyers came to me during that game and after and thanked me for doing what I did. And for me, it was just the right thing to do. And even Mike Keenan, get this, Ryan, Mike Keenan after the game, he because we lose 3-1, right? And he's our coach. He really wants to win this game. He comes to me after the game and he was kind of semi-serious. Yeah, it was a good game, but if you would have scored on that opportunity, it would have made a difference. And I'm looking at him like, is he serious right now?
He was. He double shift Leach and the other defenseman in the third period. Well, and we had 6 lines, and so he double shift all the guys. He wanted to win so bad.
One of the guys that he benched was Dave Maloney. Dave Malone to this day hates him because he did that. I think it was Lindros went around him. And they either scored or they came close to scoring. After that shift, it was in the second period. After the shift, Dave Maloney didn't see any ice time going into the third. Another guy, Pat Hickey. So Pat Hickey still thinks he's 20 out there. He's not going very quick. So now he's going with 3 lines. Pat Hickey jumps on the ice when he was not even told to get on. He just jumped on the ice because he didn't want to sit. So we had a few situations on our side, but see, I was getting a lot of ice time, so I didn't care. So I love Mike. I mean, I got to know Mike Keenan. He's awesome. But that's the story on that missed goal for me. I get recognized for that goal more than anything else.
Shoot, Mike.
Yeah. Do any opponents stick out to you guys that were hard to play against?
Go ahead, Brian.
Well, so for me, it was Ray Bork, because he was so good offensively and defensively. And so, and another guy that I hate to play against was Bob Gainey, because he was so big and strong. I had trouble scoring in Montreal against them because they had all the better players, but he was too tough to play against. And, I hated that.
Yeah, for me, it was guys that if you beat them, they were going to try to break your arm. And of course, you play with Benny Wilson. Now, Ben, you go around Ben. With me, see, with Ben, I wouldn't try to go wide on him. I would just throw it in the corner and go get it. At least I would give him a chance, and I wouldn't embarrass him. So he was one of the guys, and in front of the net, boy, Benny was tough. I mean, he would freaking cross-check you like he was trying to hurt you. Clarkson, I don't remember. Clarkson played in Pittsburgh. Randy Holt in L.A. I mean, these guys were dirty if you went around them, really try to hurt you. And then you got Larry Robinson, he would play you hard, but he was somewhat of a clean player. Long reach. I mean, forget about trying to go around Larry. You had to dump it behind him also.
What do you guys think of that new goal, the Michigan or lacrosse goal they're doing these days? I don't think that would have ever happened those back in that day.
No, the sticks were flat.
Well, not just that. I mean, you would have had a whole bunch of guys because you're essentially embarrassing them.
Yeah.
Would have been some fingers broken.
Oh yeah. You wouldn't, trust me, someone would come after you, wouldn't even do it again. That wouldn't have happened.
That's what Grant Fuhrer said to us 2 nights ago, that we asked the same question. He's like, I had the guy who tried to lift the puck and come around the net. I would have took his wrist off.
Well, can you imagine if he tried to do this to Billy Smith, the Outlaw goaltender?
Yeah, or Hextall.
He would have been waiting for him like this next time with the stick. No.
Yeah.
Or Ronnie Hextall.
Ronnie Hextall's another one.
Here we go. Go-to celebrations. Let's go, Brian. The cigar brand.
Oh yeah. So Ron, I hope I don't know, you don't know, but I have my own Guffaw cigar brand from the Dominican Republic, what I did is a licensing agreement with Vivente Cigars in the Dominican Republic. That way I don't have to worry about making the cigars as a manufacturer. And I have 5 packs, 10 packs, 24 boxes, and bundles of 25 for sale, like right online under gaffawcigars.com. And so like I tell all the other guys, I was just with Boston alumni, so like I told them about that, so hopefully they can order some too.
Okay, so Brian, what social media do you do? Because I think we follow each other on Facebook. Do you have Instagram?
Yeah, I have Instagram and Twitter and Facebook too.
Okay, well, let's follow each other on Instagram. That way I can repost it so I can let all my followers know what you're doing. So I'm at rduguay10 for everyone listening. rduguay10 Instagram, and then Twitter, and then on Facebook. Facebook, I'm maxed out at 5,000, but I would love to be able to promote your product. And what I have is, which is new for me, I'm part of a company called Code One. Code One makes a hand sanitizer moisturizer. The company I'm with kind of saw where we were going to be now with all the sanitizing of our hands. So they created a really good quality products called H21. H21. And you can see all that when you follow me on Instagram. What's nice about our product, that every time one bottle is bought, another one gets given away. So H21, and it's Code One, and it's new to me, a new category for me, and I've enjoyed doing it. And the other thing I love to do is as I mentioned before, Cameo, that app. You go to app Cameo, yeah. I say hi to folks, best wishes, and that sort of thing. So it's all good.
Okay. And Brian, the gaffaw, did that come from Howie Mandel?
Yeah, every time I went to center ice, I did guffaw, which means a hearty laughter. I got it from Howie Mandel because he had his shows in Atlantic City all the time. And so like I saw a couple of his shows and I liked what he did. And I was with my buddy Scott McKay. And so I said in the early 80s, I said, I want to do something a little different after I scored a goal. Like Tim Kerr scored so much, but he didn't react. But I wanted something that would be a little bit more feasible and excitable. And so like the guffaw means a hearty laughter. And that's what I named my cigars from. I trademarked it from Howie Mandel. I saw him 6 months ago at a show. And so I talked with him, and in the 80s, I talked with him before. So we're good friends.
Perfect.
Okay. And did you have a go-to celebration, Ron?
What do you mean, on the ice or off the ice?
Both.
Well, listen, I was a very happy player because I took advantage of living in New York. So, but celebrating on the ice, I didn't want to make it too much because it's almost in your face. You know, you just respond and react because scoring a goal is very hard, especially in the NHL. So you score, it's really important to you. You can't help but jump up, even when your teammates score. You know, it's high five, hugging each other, and but I try not to do anything more than that. And then off the ice, of course, I surround myself with fun people where we like to go and have fun.
Perfect. That sounds about.
Yeah,
right.
you've crushed a couple pints in your lifetime.
I have, yeah, but I was always under control. I'm always been grounded with not doing too much.
Did you play, Brian? Did you play with Vancouver guy Jack McElharty?
Yeah, I did. He was in Philadelphia in 1980 when we went to the finals, and I know he just passed a while ago, but he had cancer, and so like, you know, a lot of these guys that I know, like I'm 61, and a couple of these guys are a little older, but you know, they keep falling, you know, so like. You know, and I almost died when I had my stroke 5 years ago. Like if I was by myself, I probably wouldn't be here. But I've come a long way just to recover and get better. And so I'm hoping that I can keep living. And so that's why every day to me is a blessing. And because I still skate a couple days a week at Pensacola and Skate Zone with some guys that I know, 2 goalies, full equipment, 5-on-5, a couple subs. And so that I love that every time I'm there. I'm
I'm happy to hear your health's on the way up. That's awesome. One thing I always remember about Jack is anytime I ever met him, you shook that guy's hand, you knew you shook his hand. Like those mitts were fucking huge. What's been your guys' go-to quarantine snack or go-to drink?
Everything.
You know what? I'm always careful what I eat and drink, but a soothing food for me, and it started a couple of months ago, was chocolate. Now, I was never a big chocolate eater, but all of a sudden I'm home because we're spending a lot of time at home. Not as much now, but like a couple of months ago. And I just started eating chocolate. It was very soothing to me. That, and I'm not big on eating pie. I started eating pie. And so
that sounds like my weekend.
Yeah. Other than that, the one thing I really like doing, that what I've been doing for the last 4, 5, 6 months, is cycling. I live in Florida, so I've done a lot of cycling. And I think what cycling does, if you grew up as a young boy on a bike, it brings you back to your youth. And so I do cycling all the time. If I'm feeling a little bit off, a little bit funk, I just get on a bike and go for a bike ride.
For me, because it's been almost 4 years since I stopped drinking in Christmas. It'll be my 4th year without a drink, but I don't miss it because just I've been used to it. Now I'm a designated driver, and so it works well for me. And just by me playing hockey twice a week, I keep Axit auction. And I work with Wolf Commercial Real Estate, and I'm ambassador for Bancroft brain injury people. So it keeps me hopping. Lots of things to do. And now with my Guffaw cigars, I just did a brochure today. So I started handing those out. So they make good gifts for Christmas and Thanksgiving.
You're a busy man.
Yes.
Hey guys, I just want to thank you both very much for taking the time for us today and chatting with us. We really appreciate it, and we've been big fans of yours, and it meant a lot to us to be able to talk to you guys.
Thanks, Mike and Ryan.
Thank you. Thanks. Brian, don't forget to follow me or follow each other on social media, all right?
You too.
Yeah.